Thank you very much, sir, for your time. Of course, I think a lot of universities would probably look at this policy and agree. Tell us a bit more about, the fact that you are trying to show the students that you have the right to at least protect those who are on the premises and have been vaccinated.
Thank you. Good morning, Masifu, and also good morning to the viewers. Yes, no, it's very important, and this is a policy. They started off with a strategy of what I would call persuasive encouragement, right during the latter part of this year, and also earlier this year, where we encourage staff and students to be vaccinated and to prepare themselves for vaccination. We had a very extensive and a comprehensive communication strategy together with a educational strategy, and then say to our staff and our students that we're going to move later on during the year to what we would call mandatory vaccination. But I want to use the word that we encourage people to be vaccinated, and we reserve the right as an institution to require staff and students to be vaccinated when they enter our campuses from the 14th of February. And I do believe that at the end it is really the balancing the rights of the individual that is protected in the Constitution, with balancing that with the right of the employer. As an employer and as the accountable officer of the organisation, the University of the Free State, I need to take reasonable steps as the accountable officer to ensure that all our staff and our students are safe on all of our campuses. That is sort of mandated under the Occupational Health and Safety Act, and through our engagement, our consultation, we are balancing those two rights. But ultimately, it is to ensure that when our staff and our students come back in numbers to the University of the Free State and to our campuses, that there is a mechanism to ensure that we protect to the best of our ability the safety and the health of both staff and students.
Did you meet any resistance when you announced this new policy?
Yes, no, obviously through the consultation process, and the policy was well consulted through all the constituencies that we have at the university. That is the academic staff, the support staff, through the unions, the institutional student representative council that represent the students. We also had consulted with other bodies just to get a sense of what their feedback are in relation to the policy. So when the policy was announced through our council, because the council had to approve the policy, and that happened on Friday, the 26th of November, and there were people that obviously talked against it and indicated that we're not really protecting the individual rights. Now, Masifa, I want to emphasize that the policy is actually, to a certain extent, very facilitatory and also flexible in a sense. Now, let me explain that very briefly. The policy proposed to what we call vaccination exemption committees. So if there are staff and students that have either religious beliefs that they don't want to vaccinate, or there are medical and health reasons, or there are any other reasons that we can't think of it for the moment, or people would say that I have had COVID-19 and therefore I've got a natural immunity. All of those reasons are going to be considered by the vaccination exemption committees, both for staff and for students, and they consist out of religious leaders, medical experts, scientists, and the idea is really for that panel to be considerate in a way. It's not we're not trying to penalize people. We would like people to, like staff and students, to really enter our campuses, but we also want to say that we need to have an extensive risk-based approach to be able to ensure that our staff and students can enter our campuses in a safe way.
Now, of course, after those 5 months of level 5 of the lockdown, that was, very harsh times. Those were very harsh times, and people had to use online learning to be able to, get their education for the year. Now, is that what you're encouraging those who opt not to get vaccinated to do rather? And is your system strong enough for them to be able to learn properly through online learning?
Yeah. So, Masifu, in fact, our approach is to say that as University of the Free State, we are indeed a residential university. So we would like to have all of our staff, and particularly all of our students, back in our residences and coming back into our classes to be exposed to face-to-face teaching. We have seen, and there was a lot of questions also from the business sector and commerce and industry that have asked me, but also obviously the sector, how can you comment, and what are your comments in terms of the employability and the strength of our graduates that have graduated in 2020 and 2021 from our institutions? Now, I believe that they were well supported, and I don't necessarily believe that there is a decrease in the quality. But we're not an online institution. Our teaching and learning strategy effectively balancing face-to-face with online. So we've got a continuum of various other blended learnings in between. But that means that there are going to be times that we're going to require students to be on campus for face-to-face. So we're going to try to manage those students, and I hope it's a small number that can't be on campus. And I believe that our online systems are strong enough to be able to cater for that. But really, I'm actually want to say to our students, and our students do want to come back. Our students do want to come to our campuses and to say, well, I really would like to engage with the curriculum, with the content in a face-to-face manner. And I can rather, for certain periods of time, use other blended learning modalities and methodologies to able to complement it. So on the one hand, to answer your questions, I do think our systems are strong, but on the other hand, I want to encourage people rather to be vaccinated to also make use of the other modes, which is face-to-face.
All right, thank you very much for your time. Vice-Chancellor of the University of the Free State, Francis Petersen, speaking to us there.